What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another character review episode of East Coast Avengers. This is episode 2. Today, again, we're going to go over our characters that we have selected from last week, and I will go ahead and start us off. So for today, my character that I have is Callisto. Now, she is a well-known mutant. She was created by Chris Claremont and Paul Smith, with her first appearance in X-Men issue number 169. Now, Callisto is mostly known as the former leader of the Morlocks, which are a underground group of mutants who are, kind of either horribly disfigured or, they're not normal looking humans, so they have to live, underground in the sewers. But currently, she serves as the White Knight of the Hellfire Trading Company. And if you're thinking of the Hellfire Trading Company, then think of the Hellfire Club formerly. Oh, hey, Grizz, how you doing? So some of her powers, some of her powers include superhuman senses, enhanced strength, agility, and reflexes, and regenerative healing. So, and then as a lot of people know, while fighting Storm, the X-Men Storm for leadership, she lost in that battle, which almost killed herself. And with her losing that battle, she transferred the leadership to Storm for the Morlocks. She also, her and the Morlocks were at constant odds with the X-Men, but they eventually, team up and work together down the line in the future. That Callisto was also involved in the Mutant Massacre, which is a massacre that was orchestrated by Mr. Sinister, which left many Morlocks dead and left only a few survivors that included Callisto. And after that, she kind of left the Morlocks when her actual beauty was restored. So before she turned into a mutant, she left the Morlocks, and with that, she was later attacked by them. I think she was attacked by the Morlocks in broad daylight, I presume, when I last checked. She also served as a mutant gladiator of the arena in Tokyo, in which her body was given tentacles. And with after that, she was among the many mutants that were depowered during M Day. So if you guys don't remember what M Day was, it was basically Scarlet Witch saying no more mutants, in which like 98% of the mutant population had lost their powers. But she was able to get her powers back for a short time by Terrigen Mist that were founded by Quicksilver. And as soon as she lost her powers, she joined a terrorist group called Excel, so X-CELL, which was a group formed by other depowered mutants who believed the government was responsible for M Day. As I said before, she's currently serving as the White Knight of the Hellfire Trading Club up in the Mutant Nation in Krakoa. I think I'm saying that right. But with her serving in that role, she uses the money that she received in order to afford a life of luxury for herself and the rest of the Morlocks that are still surviving. So that is my character review of Callisto. Hope you guys enjoyed that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Now, who did you say was the creator?
Chris Claremont and Paul Smith.
That person, the Claremont who autographed that piece right there.
Yes,
I don't
sir.
think they can see the autograph, JT.
Well,
It's a Wolverine comic done by Claremont himself.
I promise it is.
Flexing so hard right now.
What I'd be saying too, JT, if I had a signed comic.
I mean, I can bring you over there if you want me to.
At least you guys got a picture. I didn't even get to go to the con.
We'll Photoshop you in, Josh.
Yeah, we'll go. Hey, he said he might come back this year, so you probably got
another this year, partner.
There's a lot of people that are going to be there this year. That hopefully, if they continue it,
The East Coast Avengers are going to be there. I heard that.
I will be there this year.
I will be there. Maybe dressed up. I don't know as who, but I'll be there.
Who's next?
You?
Oh, oh,
You.
wow. Oh,
What'd
got
you look
put on the spot. Now, all right. So, after doing some research on my character, I have Brother Voodoo. I got very much of a southern kind of Louisiana type vibes, Cajun vibes. So his first appearance was in Strange Tales, Volume 1, Issue 169, in September of 1973. His real name is actually Jericho Drum. That'll sound a little familiar, but I'll get into that in a minute. And he is a voodoo priest from Haiti on Earth 616. Now, he stands at 6 foot tall and weighs about 220. He has brown eyes and brown hair. His powers consist of being a master of voodoo magic, pyrokinesis, which is basically he's immune to fire by entering a trance. So he goes into some trance and he's immune to fire. Smoke manipulation, hypnosis, spirit possession, which his spirit possession, meaning he can summon his brother's spirit to make him stronger. He also has magic immunity and magic manipulation. So basically a very big Doctor Strange type vibe, if you ask me. Now, a little bit of his backstory. Jericho returned to his native land of Haiti, after 12 years of education and practice in the United States. His brother, Daniel Drum, had become a local voodoo priest in Haiti, but he was dying from a spell from a rival priest who claimed he served for this evil serpent god Dambala. Probably butchering that name. But before he died, Daniel made his brother Jericho, or Brother Voodoo, he made him vow to priest Papa Jambo, who had instructed Daniel in the arts of voodoo priest. So Papa Jambo kind of, taught Daniel Drum this voodoo magic. And when Jericho Drum went and visited his brother said, "Hey, learn from Papa Jambo, and you'll be a voodoo priest." But after only a few weeks of learning this voodoo magic, Jericho had reached a proficiency in voodoo even greater than his brothers. To further increase Jericho's power, Papa Jambo performed a rite that summoned Daniel Drum, his spirit, back from the dead to join Jericho's, his spirit, which is the spirit possession that I mentioned earlier. Therefore he is now known as Brother Voodoo. Fun fact that I learned in doing this, in the movie Doctor Strange, as we all know and love from the MCU, Daniel Drum is a character in the movie. He is not, he's one of the, he's like a background extra kind of. He was in one big fight, but then didn't do much afterwards. But he is in the MCU. So does that mean Brother Voodoo's in the MCU? Not necessarily, but it is an interesting little tidbit there. So that is Brother Voodoo. Again, I got very much of a Doctor Strange vibe from reading about his stories and stuff.
Given that he's like Cajun, or I guess from that area, does he
Yeah.
ever have any run-ins with Gambit or anything to do with Gambit?
He had one, but it was when in one of the comic issues, he was possessed by another voodoo priest. I can't remember the name of this evil priest, but Brother Voodoo was under his possession, and went and fought Gambit like in a one-off fight, and then Gambit like made him snap back to reality, and then they went their separate ways. So that's the only run-in. But he's had run-ins with of course Doctor Strange is his big, the one that we all know. But some other ones is like some one-off characters of the X-Men, more of like the Ancient One type characters. So but that's really about it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting what you said about his brother. What's his name? Daniel, that you said.
Daniel Drum, yes.
Yeah, so with him being in Doctor Strange, kind of like being like that background character, kind of like an extra maybe. And you're saying like, does this, confirm that Brother Voodoo is actually in the MCU. It kind of brought me back to Childish Gambino's character in Spider-Man: Homecoming, saying like, oh, my nephew, he's doing so and so, which kind of confirms that Miles Morales is in the MCU, but it's actually like never been confirmed. So it's kind of like on the same page as that. So yeah, it kind of like teases a little bit.
It's funny. It's funny that you said that too, Dom, because I got the same like feeling. I was like, oh, I remember that scene. Then when I looked it up, there's a deleted cut scene from Spider-Man: Homecoming, that Childish Gambino's character is sitting on the cab. As we all know, his hand is, in the web, and he is on the phone, and he says, "Hey, Miles, I'm not going to make it to dinner tonight. Just put it in the microwave," or something like that. Or he says something along those lines, and which he said the word Miles. I mean, there's only one Miles, that we all know. So maybe he's in the MCU. Who knows? But that is Brother Voodoo.
Gotcha. Now, question: Who do you like? Who is like a bigger villain of his besides Doctor Strange? You said Doctor Strange is one of his.
He is. It's not. It's really interesting because Brother Voodoo, in his comic book run or in his like span, has been possessed by different, voodoo priests. So he's been possessed by this guy and this guy.
Just say more priest, like more so than Doctor Strange or some other characters. Like
his run-ins with Doctor Strange were only because he was possessed. It wasn't because he
they're not like enemies or anything like that.
Okay.
They're more like I can't find the right word for it. Not friends, but they work together most of the time.
Yeah, they're more
whenever something like some big bad magic arrives. Doctor Strange would sometimes call up Brother Voodoo, saying like, "Hey,
just friends." Yeah, they're not enemies at all.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
But it's real interesting too because obviously, Brother Voodoo, or as he's known, Jericho Drum, is a very smart, person. He went to the United States and studied, he practiced and did all of his educational work for 12 years over there. And then once he came back, he learned this new art of, voodoo, and he learned it in literally only a few weeks. And his brother Daniel had been doing this, for a really long, more than 12 years actually.
Jericho's got the brains.
Exactly. He got those, that gene of the family. But Papa Jambo basically just said, to make you stronger, I'm going to, resurrect your brother's spirit and allow you to, fuse with him, or, make you stronger, really. So that is the spirit possession that he has.
Nice.
So.
All right. I think we got Josh up next. Who do you have, Josh?
Sir, I got Captain Universe. So he's a cosmic being, and his creators are Bill Mantio and Michael Golden. He's from Earth 616, and his first appearance was Micronauts number 8 in August of 1979. His powers, they vary from partner to partner, and what I mean by that is he's like a Venom. So he's like a Venom, but he's obviously nothing to do with the symbiote world, in that he kind of possesses, but he's not bad. So he more so bonds with people. That's the more appropriate word. So he bonds with people, and of course, it varies from person to person. He can enhance the power of a host who already has powers, or he can give somebody that doesn't have any powers new powers. Some of the powers that remain consistent to each other include like Univision, which is a cosmic consciousness. He can sense things. It's not even a he, it's more of an it. It can sense things on a subatomic level, great distances, and it can force people to tell the truth. That'd be pretty interesting to have. Mm-hmm. Also has matter and energy manipulation. So this thing is like stupid powerful. And his description, he's not one person. He's in fact not a person at all. It's a unipower and a manifestation of death itself and life. A sentient energy field that seeks out people in great peril and bonds with them. And he's kind of like the Force. If you read some of the stories that he's in. If a person tries to use the power that he has for personal gain or for evil, he cuts himself off, or I'm sorry, it cuts himself off from the host immediately. It doesn't stand for a side, except for I guess it does stand aside in a sense. He stands for a greater purpose rather than the ambitions and the selfish personal gains /
So kind of like morals, basically.
yeah, pretty much. So yeah, and he's very pick and choosy too with who he bonds with. He's been a member of the Avengers, and he has had run-ins with the Fantastic Four, Tony Stark, Spider-Man, etc. And he's actually bonded with Hulk, Daredevil, X-23, Silver Surfer, Invisible Woman, etc. So I can only imagine how powerful some of those people were. There's no pattern in Captain Universe's appearances. In one universe, and possibly all universes, it is the guardian of eternity, the sum of all life, and thus responsible for protecting all life in existence. So this thing is just far greater.
Guy.
Right. So it's not really a hero, and it's not really a villain. It's just kind of like there.
Yeah.
It's like is it like an anti-hero, kind of like a
It's like not even. He's
in the gray area.
He's beyond that. It's
He's beyond that.
Sentient, like super force.
very neutral.
Exactly. Well, I wouldn't even say neutral. He just believes what he believes, and he'll side with what he sides with.
Got you.
So it may not be right or wrong to us, but if that's what he believes, he'll help somebody by bonding with them and help them achieve what they need in their time of peril.
So I was going to ask how does he choose how does it choose its host? Basically, like does it just randomly go to a random hero, just say like, hey.
Well, again, it doesn't even go to heroes either. It can bond with just a normal person, whatever their struggle may be. He helps them achieve that, and sometimes it isn't like saving the world type thing,
right?
And I don't know exactly how he chooses. I guess it just manifests itself into what it feels like he should help in a certain situation, whatever he feels like it needs to help himself in. So it was really weird. I'm not gonna lie. He's actually bonded with Spider-Man as well, and there's a really cool pop.
I've seen that.
Yeah, bonded with Captain America. Pretty cool. But yeah, this thing is super powerful and a very interesting character, to say the least.
All right, Christian, you're up next, and you have.
Oh yes, I have Blob, or the Blob, who's a villain of the X-Men. So real quick, he was created by the legends Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, who's pretty much made all the great comics heroes and villains. His first appearance is X-Men #3, January of 1964. His real name is Frederick J. Dukes, or just Dukes if you want to call him that.
1964.
Yeah, 1964. Yeah, he's been a baddie for a while. His abilities include superhuman strength, endurance, durability, resilience. He produces his own personal gravity field, and he has near impenetrable skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, his intro, I guess, to the Marvel universe would be born out of Lubbock, Texas. Fred Dukes, due to his freakish stature, he became part of the circus. And his act would be he could remain stationary, and no person or no man or no thing can move him. That was his whole thing, hence the name The Blob. That's where that came from. Charles Xavier sensed he was a mutant and sent Cyclops to go join the X-Men. And at first, Dukes agreed, and he went to go see the gifted school for X-Men. But due to his bullyish nature, the other X-Men really didn't like him. So upon his invitation from Charles, Dukes refused it, and he said that he was better than the X-Men, and he's like, he doesn't need this. So he wanted to leave, but before he could leave, Charles went to erase his mind so he wouldn't know where the gifted school was, so no harm would fall on them. But before he could erase his mind, the Blob escaped through using the sewer system underneath the gifted school. After that, the Dukes went back to the circus and gathered the other circus, I guess freaks or members of the circus, to plan an attack on the gifted school for young children. and they pretty much they took over. They had everyone tied up, Iceman, everyone like that. They were kids. So they weren't like fully fledged out heroes like they are now. Um, and yeah, they tied him up on the lawn, and then the Blob and the other members of the circus went inside to go after Charles and his technology. Well, Charles, using his his mind, like telekinesis type of thing, where he can talk to other people, telepathic abilities, he contact with Marvel Girl and tells her to remove her blindfold using her telekinesis, and levitated a knife from a performance tent to cut through the bonds. So she freed herself and everyone else who was tied up, and they basically stopped the Blob and the other members of the circus. After that, Charles wiped everyone's mind, and then Blob went back to the circus. And after that, he went on to join, the other supervillain groups like Secret Empire, Brotherhood of Evil, XL, like Don mentioned earlier, and he became one of the most like well-known X-Men villains of all time. In terms of like smartness or intelligence, he's never been a guy to lead a attack plan, or he's more like a lieutenant for a bigger bad. For like Magneto, he would be the guy that Magneto would tell to go do a certain thing. But he is pretty well known. X-Men know of him. Uh, Clearly, people like Wolverine and Iceman and all those, the main Cyclops, the main X-Men, they know who the Blob is, and he's always caused problems for them, being how big he is. He's kind of like a walking wall, basically. So it was pretty cool learning about, the Blob. I didn't know he was a circus, talent. I didn't know that's where his name came from, or how he even met Charles Xavier and the rest of the X-Men.
Yeah, pretty much like some of the mutants like got their start in the circus basically. Like the only one that I can think of at the top of my head who got their start in the circus is Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler was a big
Yeah,
one. Wasn't
I know
Angel?
that too. Yeah.
Angel was in like the fighting arena. But yeah, it was a little
Yeah.
different.
I was going to ask
It
something.
sounded like you were giving your description of them, and I can only imagine X-Men Origins Wolverine. I can only imagine
That's
that.
what I was thinking of.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of too.
Wasn't he like fit in the beginning of the movie?
He was really fit, like
Yeah.
and then it was so funny because like in the movie, who Will I Am, what is his character?
I
Vision.
forgot who was in that movie.
I don't know.
Cowboy.
He was like, don't call Dukes, don't say nothing about his weight. And Wolverine's like, all right, what's wrong with him? And then he comes in there and he says Bub, but
But he thought he said Blob.
he said, "Did you call me Blob?" And I was like, "Hey, that's the name."
They did this
Hey, he said it. He said it.
They did this really corny thing where in the beginning of the movie, when they were all buff and everything,
Yeah.
he had like a tattoo of like a sexy girl on
Yeah.
his arm, on his bicep. And then when it would show him again, you're like, who is that? And then it showed the tattoo like all stretched out on his arm. I'm like, that is so cheesy. Like,
It's funny to me because that character was made in 1964, I think you said.
yeah, 1964, yeah.
And of course, in the movie, he's really big. But I feel like in 1964, with the times that they lived in, there wasn't a lot of people that looked like that. But you fast forward like 50 years in 2020, or however long that many years that is, 2020,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of people that look like that. So it's kind of like, it's kind of something to laugh at because it's like, is it really a superpower? Like, I know it's like abnormal in the 60s, but it's not abnormal now.
Well, if we
the Blob is like, he's like massive.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I know.
I asked Chris like, what's his weight?
His
off the top of your head.
Yeah, his weight varies, but like it kind of jumps. There's no like
No official weight.
Yeah, but like every superhero group has like a big villain. Like, Batman has Solomon Grundy, Spider-Man has like Rhino, and like big villains.
Like he's basically a tank.
Yeah, and then the X-Men have the Blob, whatever you want to call him. And the difference between all those is he is a mutant with this ginormous stature, but he's not really like fit or anything. Not like a Juggernaut. Like Juggernaut's on a whole nother level, you know.
Mhm.
So
They're kind of
it's kind of
similar in a way,
yeah, but
because
he's
they're
more on
both
the like
immovable.
yeah, he's more on the like he's actually like he's just fat. Like it's not even like fat strong. Like oh he's like fat strong. Like you know like other people. I can't
All you
really
got to
think.
do is eat a bunch of cheeseburgers and not work out, and you can be an X-Men.
Yeah, and
Well,
yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah,
mean, if y'all
but
remember I know we're taking comics and then comics and movies are completely different, but in Origins, at the very beginning when he's fit, Stryker's like, all right, go get him, Dukes. And Dukes literally punches his fist in the tank, like the cannon of the tank, and then the tank blows up.
Right.
yeah,
And then when he becomes bigger, and Wolverine is literally going at him, like punching him and, kicking him and going, off the top rope at him. And it's not doing anything to him. The only way he has to hurt him is if he hits him with his adamantium right on the head. So dude's pretty powerful, honestly.
Yeah, he is. And I was going to go back to X-Men Evolution, because there were plenty of times where he shows like, I'm not just fat, like I'm like pretty freaking strong. Like, 'cause he was like lifting up cars. I think he lifted up a tank a few times, maybe in that show.
5 tons. That's what.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So
He was
yeah,
just born with that. He was just born with that freakish mutant gene.
right.
And in this case, him being bigger actually does make him more powerful because his skin is so like almost impenetrable. When you're bigger, you have more skin, and since his skin is impenetrable, it just makes him in essence more powerful than him being skinny. So it's like this is the one exception where it's like okay, he got more powerful when he got bigger.
But yeah, and I was gonna say with his origin story, I would say X-Men Evolution, like well, not completely, maybe like 90% of it. When he was first introduced in the show, like when you explained his origin story, it kind of got me thinking back to him at X-Men Evolution. Like, he was in the circus, and then Xavier found him. Then he was with the X-Men for a bit, just basically said like, I'm not, cut out for this, basically, and went on to go join the Brotherhood, who was like, down the street from them, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so Dhiren, you're up next.
Yep. I have Blizzard, aka Jack Frost, who a lot of people know him as. Because Blizzard's like a newer name, but he was known as Jack Frost before. But his actual name is Gregor Shapanka, I think. I don't know. It sounds European. But okay, that's what he is. Okay, yeah. He's a human. For those of you guys that don't know, because he has like ice powers, but that's not actually him. That's a suit. So he's from Earth and all that. 616, of course. But there's multiple blizzards, which I'll get into later. But basically, he was created. Well, Jack Frost was created by Stan Lee and Don Heck. In Blizzard, because they're two different kind of. Well, they're one and the same. It's weird. But Blizzard was created by Bill Mantlo, who actually co-created Rocket Raccoon and Cloak and Dagger.
Mantio or Mantlo?
Mantlo.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I might mispronounce mine. Because it's the same guy that created Captain Universe. My character.
It could have been, I don't know, it could have been the same guy. I read it as Mantlo, like with an L, but it could be I don't know.
I'll look into it.
Either or, but and it's created by George Tuska, who actually worked on like Iron Man and Captain Marvel strips in the 60s. So yeah, it's pretty neat. Had two different artists, two different writers. But Jack Frost first appeared in Tales of Suspense number 45, issue number 45 in 63. And his first appearance as Blizzard was in Iron Man issue 86 in 1976. So basically, Gregor Shapanka, I guess, is a Hungarian, not Russian, Hungarian scientist obsessed with immortality. So he basically decides he got a job through Stark Industries, I'm assuming with Howard Stark, not Tony Stark, because this was back then. But I think it could have been with Stark Industries as Tony himself owning the company. Oh, it was actually, sorry, I got confused. So he was trying to steal some of Stark's tech to build a suit, but stealing doesn't really get you anywhere in life. So he was actually caught by Tony Stark, and he was in like a secret vault trying to steal some high tech stuff. And Tony Stark fires him, he basically Gregor was like, all right, whatever, I'm gonna create my own suit. So he creates his own suit, and it was containing like cold generating devices, but nobody knew what it was, when he first appeared, kind of thing, or in public in the comics, So he was kind of dubbed as Jack Frost because they were like, this guy has kind of weird powers, some cooling abilities, but they didn't really know about it. So he attempted to break into Stark Industries. He actually captured Pepper Potts and Happy Hogan, and was later defeated by Iron Man. So he has multiple runs with Iron Man. Years later, he was in prison, of course, with the whole thing with Iron Man. He escaped prison, attacked Stark's Long Island industrial complex. So, Stark had multiple plants nationwide to help out different Avengers. And let's see, he was looking for more cold generating tech in Stark's lab and stuff. And he actually got this battle suit. And long story short, changed his name to Blizzard. This kind of gave him his later on abilities that he kind of gained, which was a micro-circuited cryogenic suit, which kind of granted him like cold manipulation in projection, so he could shoot out like freezing rays, ice projectiles, stuff like that. And then he can, when he has a suit, and I don't know if it's like you turn it on or off or whatever, but I guess when he enables some certain ability with the suit, it lowers the temperature in the surrounding area. So I thought that was pretty neat. He's kind of more OP. I just didn't really get into that because there's various Blizzards, and Jack Frost was just the one guy. Then it kind of evolved it into Blizzard, and then there's multiple universes, multiple realities, and different artists actually had their own takes on Blizzard. But he's basically one of Iron Man's ongoing side villains. He also worked with Justin Hammer on the suit, so I thought that was pretty interesting. Hammer Tech actually helped him out, and then later on he like started a trio villain team, but was also taken down by Iron Man, which is pretty neat.
Oh, so for the fans watching this and are kind of confused, what's the difference between Blizzard and Iceman?
Ooh, well, Iceman's a mutant. He's in the X-Men. So he's actually born with those capabilities. And when he enables his powers, he turns to ice. And, he shoots out ice projectiles, lowers the temperature, just like Blizzard / Jack Frost's suit. But the thing is, Jack Frost, or should I say Gregor, he can't really do that at his will. It's just from a suit. So if that suit gets destroyed, he's just a guy, just like Tony Stark's Iron Man suit. But luckily he has nanotech, whatever, But the difference is, Iceman's born with it. I forgot Iceman's real name, but yes, Gregor is not born with it. So he just has that suit. But it does evolve and gets upgraded by Justin Hammer, which I thought was pretty cool. So it kind of adds some other abilities to it. But yeah.
And then it just got me thinking when you said like he worked for Tony Stark and then was later fired by him. Like, Tony Stark making people mad and turning into villains. He just has like a long history of that basically. Because it made me think of Mysterio and Spider-Man Far From Home a little bit.
That too, and Vulture. You remember the events from New York in 2012 when Homecoming happened? You see Vulture watching the TV, and then you see those aliens that Loki brought in, Thanos' army. You see that, they're taking those alien parts away, and he's like, no, this wouldn't have happened if Tony Stark, blah, 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 whatever. He's kind of blaming on Tony.
He's doing the cleanup crew, and then Tony hires his own people to clean it up. Yeah.
Yes. And he doesn't understand because he's like, I'm trying to put food on the table for my family. But Tony's doing the right thing because the general public can be kind of, seeing this kind of stuff. But whatever, it can turn bad. But yeah, it's a good analogy, Dom. It's basically the same thing.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that's all that we have today for our character review. Hope you guys enjoyed and learned some new things about some characters that you probably never heard before. But yeah, tune in next week where we do episode 3 of East Coast Avengers character review. I see that Captain America has joined in on the conversation towards the end.
Sir, Captain JT.
Hey, Dominic, this is Cap speaking. This is episode 3. Next week will be 4.
Whoopsie.
Nice job, Dom.
Thank you, Cap.
I'm here. Reporting for
Thank
duty.
you for correcting me, Cap. You look a little different today.
I don't know what it could be.
Well,
It looks
maybe
like
you know,
you,
they can take the soldier serum.
Could it be? What? They have more of that?
So that's it for tonight's episode. We hope to see you guys next week for again episode 4.
What did I miss?
And
Oh, there's just some guy named Cap on here. You're good. He had a combo with Tom.
Captain America
I
was
missed
there.
Captain America.
No, yeah, we had an appearance from Captain Wannabe, but he left.
Yeah. Oh,
Thank God he left.
Yeah.
one more thing before you close it out, Dom. So if you guys have any like character requests that you want us to do, just be sure to comment on our YouTube channel or Twitter or Instagram, whatever, and we'll be sure to look into it and then get to it when we can.
Also
right.
subscribe to the channel.
Yes.
Yes, don't forget to like and subscribe. We always gotta say that at the end of our videos. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed again, and we will see you guys again next week.
All right. Catch y'all later.
Hey, what's going on, nerds? Thank you for checking out today's video. Be sure to hit subscribe on our channel so you can keep up with all of our latest content, all of our latest videos for Star Wars, Marvel, DC. We got it. Thank you.